everybody. I hope everybody is feeling wonderful this morning. And I checked our comments to see if we had any comments or if we had any questions. And so far, we did have some comments. Some of them were about the video I did on the Goodwill medical equipment video. That was just a video I felt that everybody needed to see because, you know.
Something light on here.
Yeah. Bert seen one of my head poofy things out there. He thought it was something live running around the house. Anywho, sorry. I'm trying to hold this and not laugh. Okay. But anyway, I thought we would talk about relatives and friends of the people who have anxiety and depression, because a lot of people don't understand how it feels or what they're really going through, and they're very confused. They don't know what to do. So I took down some research, and I also have, of course, some of my own, because Bert and I were married when it happened, and I know he must have thought, oh my God, who did I marry? Because we had just got done getting married and settling in and everything, and then it happened. So, trauma can happen to anybody in their life. That's the main thing everybody needs to know. You could go to Vietnam like Bert did and come back with PTSD. People could be abused as children. Some people, it don't bother them. They grow up and everything is cool, and, you know, but most of the time, whatever happens to you in the past comes back in a different form. And it's hard to say which trauma or which part actually caused that, because you even have people who, I'm sure everybody has trauma, everybody, but not as much as, you know, some people, not as much as others. But when I got diagnosed with anxiety, they diagnosed me with anxiety and panic. Well, Bert had no idea what that was. He was never around it. That he knew of. So I know how confused he was. I really do. I mean, when you have a wife who is waking you up, telling you, you need to call an ambulance for me, I can't breathe, my heart's pounding, I think I'm having a heart attack, I think I'm gonna die, you know, by all means, you call that ambulance, 'cause you never know. Let me see what else I want to go through here. Every one of us that have anxiety, depression, panic attacks, PTSD, we all have common symptoms, but then some of us have other symptoms that are not common, or that are just something somebody else feels that we don't feel, or whatever. The best thing to do for it really is let people know about it. And I know sometimes it's embarrassing. You don't want to tell somebody, oh, I went to the store with my husband today. My anxiety was so bad, I didn't even want to go in the store. And they say that's agoraphobia. And so they call it anxiety with agoraphobia. So there's with and without. I don't know about agoraphobia being it necessarily. I wasn't afraid of the people going in the store. I was just, I just felt like I shouldn't go in there. It's really hard to explain. So if you have a person who does have anxiety or panic or something like that, just understand and, I know it's hard sometimes when you hear this day in and day out, and it's hard for relatives because my mom had it really bad, and I took care of her. My father left, so I took care of her. My brother, he was always out somewhere. So, hush, my dog, he has to get attention 24/7. Sorry about that. Let me see. I just want to make sure I'm touching on all the good points here. Yeah, I had all three. I had depression, anxiety, and then eventually they diagnosed me with PTSD. None of my family knew what PTSD was. I barely knew what it was, and they explained it to me. But all I can tell you is it's good for them to be social. It's good for them to get out of the house more. The more you are in the house with anxiety and depression, the more that person feels worse. And they don't understand that. There's a lot of times that I didn't want to go out at all. I just wanted to stay home. And that was probably the depression part. And I know people who don't go anywhere. I mean, they go get groceries or they order it on the phone and they go pick it up, and they're lucky if they go out once or twice a month, and usually that is because their relatives will coax them to come out and to do things. Maybe go take a ride to a restaurant or, everybody's an individual. You never know how they're going to handle their trauma. You never know. Like you and your sister or you and your brother, you may have both been diagnosed with anxiety. And one of you, even though you take medicine, sometimes you have breakthrough, I call them breakthrough anxiety attacks, breakthrough panic attacks, PTSD. Just because you take medicine does not mean that you will never experience it, because I do still have it at times. So if your family member is on medication, the best thing to do is if you think the medication is not doing anything, then you might want to speak up for that relative to maybe get it changed, maybe get the dosage changed. But I don't know with me. I don't take a very high dose of anything. And I thank God for that. I'm lucky for that. Because when I quit my meds that time, they ended up putting me on a lot more medication in the beginning to start off again, because my body was depleted of it. So that little bit I was taking every day didn't work. And like I said, you have to be patient. You have to be patient with them, and it's sometimes very, very difficult because they just look like they're going down. That's what they look like. Because I know I lost tons of weight. And I don't even know how I did it. I guess, well, yeah, I do. I wasn't eating, for one thing. I would be hungry. Bart would fix me something to eat. I'd go to the table and eat, and I couldn't eat it. And I remember my relatives coming, and I think it was Thanksgiving or something, and I was having an anxiety attack, and it surprised the hell out of everybody, And nothing happened to make me have one. It just happened. And I always thought in the beginning that it had to be trauma. You went through something, you got stressed out about something. which it does happen with me when I get stressed out too much, and like I said before, the seasonal disorder baloney especially here in Texas, I hear of tornadoes out there. I'm freaking out. I'm serious. I'm freaking out. And I lived in hurricane country, so, I just felt you can get away from hurricanes. You got time. You can't get away from the tornado. But anyway, yeah, so it'll be weird stuff like that. If you've ever had a dog who acts like they're going crazy because there's a storm coming, or there's a storm and they're hiding under a little 3-inch opening under your table or whatever, and you're wondering how the hell they got in there, that's because they're very scared. And that is what happens when not with everybody, but with most people, when you have anxiety and panic attacks and stuff like that, that's basically how you feel. But you don't know why. You don't know why. Most of the time, you're just terrified of something and you're going, I don't even know why I feel this way. So if you have a mom, a dad, an aunt, an uncle, and they have anxiety and panic, just try your best to understand. And for yourself, always take a break. Do things for yourself. Do self-care. Take care of yourself. Go get your nails done. Go get a haircut. Whatever. Even if you just go to one of the restaurants and have lunch by yourself or with somebody you enjoy company with, because it is very, very hard. And most of the time, now therapy never worked for me, but my family always wanted me to have therapy. Oh, go talk about it. It'll be better, blah, blah, blah. I had a son. I think I said this. I'm not sure. I had a son who, all my kids are very understanding and loving kids. However, one son would tell me constantly, you need to get off that medication. You're going to become a drug addict, blah, 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 blah. You're taking that medication. You don't need it. You can make yourself feel better. And I would hear this constantly. And that was one of the reasons I quit my medication in the first place. And I won't do that again, trust me, because it made everything 10 times worse when I ended up breaking down, is what I call it. And my anxiety I had before that was not that bad. So you can't play, what would I say? In my opinion, you cannot play with your brain. Your brain will kick you in your hiney. Your nervous system, it gets all screwed up when you have that stuff. So it's good to be able to talk to people. It's good to be able to hear people say, hey, I got this too. And that is what people need. And I think it's most important for me, if you're a relative, always check on your relative. I mean, I know you can't do it every day. I know life is going on too, but have compassion for them and know that therefore, by the grace of God, go you, because this is a relative and it could easily happen to you because it is hereditary too, they say. Remember, I'm not a doctor. However, that's what I've been reading for years and years and years. It could just be that you didn't have major trauma in your life as a child, in your life as an adult, but maybe somebody died in your family, and then all of a sudden you have an anxiety attack, and then you keep having them over and over. And it's just from what you went through. But did it run in your family too? So, it's so hard to I think when I seen my mom, it was heartbreaking because I was a little kid about 6 years old, and she started not feeling well, and she wouldn't take the medicine. A lot of people don't like taking medicine. I didn't want to take it either. I didn't even have to have a blood pressure pill or any kind of medication until I was like 47 when I started taking the stuff for anxiety. I didn't need anything. Very perfectly healthy. Sometimes I worked out all the time after work or before work. I always played with the kids, and we always went to picnics, and my brother and I would get together and we would do things with all the kids, and we were pretty much in shape. But all my brother's kids, just about, have anxiety. So it can run in families, and some of them have migraine headaches. I had them for 10 years. Those are the worst things I ever had. But my mom had them. I remember my mom, she would lay down on the couch sometimes for 3 days, and she would even upchuck. Because the pain just got so bad. And I had the same thing. And when I was in college, I remember I had to, one day I was on my way to school and to college, and I had just got off work, and I had been feeling lousy all day, but it was finals. No, it wasn't. It was midterms. Honey, I made it 3/4 of the way, and I said, I can't do this. I had to pull over, throw up. My pain was so bad, I had to call the doctor, make an appointment, and get in to see him. So I had to put off my midterm exam. But, that's what happens with this. If you're a relative, I'm sure you have seen other people with this if this person has it. I just, maybe everybody's, not everybody, but a lot of people are lucky and they don't get it. That's good. You're not guaranteed to inherit it, but it can be hereditary. Okay, let's see. One thing I always wondered about is relatives, friends, and other people, even doctors, okay? If you're a diabetic, if you're if you have high cholesterol, if you have, let's see, what would I say? High blood pressure, cholesterol, diabetes, you are not really singled out for having to take medicine. They know you got to take it. But I don't understand why they don't know when somebody who has anxiety and stuff, they think that they shouldn't have to take medicine. And a lot of people think, oh, people are taking that because they want to get messed up. Not me. And let me tell you, like I said before, this happens even with the doctors. They're very skeptical about giving you medication. And all these people out there doing things, bad things, evil things on the streets and everywhere else, yes, I think some of them do have panic attacks, PTSD, and anxiety, and they're not getting treated for it. And that's not fair to them, and it's not fair to anybody else. And a lot of people who are into drugs, because I grew up around them, they also have or have had other illnesses such as schizophrenia, major depression, can't function, can't even get out of bed. And so they have used that to make them feel better because they don't go to the doctor. They either feel stereotyped or, oh, mental illness. Oh, I don't have no mental illness, people look down, not everybody, but people look down on people who have any type of mental illness. Some are afraid of them, rightly so, because some people can get really belligerent and what have you. But we got to help ourselves, and our relatives and friends have to help us. And that doesn't mean necessarily financially, emotionally. Somebody to talk to, somebody to just listen to what's going on. How do you feel? What made you feel that way? This is the kind of questions that I'm trying to get everybody to put in the comments. And you don't have to tell me the situation that happened in your life or the trauma. You only tell me what you want to tell me and ask me what you want to ask me. The only thing I can't answer is something that would have to be answered by a mental specialist or a physician. So I can try to help you emotionally. I can talk about things you're interested in, different facets of anxiety, different facets of depression, different facets of PTSD, maybe give you a few ideas, So make sure that you put that down in the comments. Don't be afraid. Most people don't use their real name anyway on YouTube. They use a screen name. So if you want to, just go get a different email with a screen name to watch this channel, and just keep that for this. Or if you watch somebody else's channel and you don't want nobody to know who you are or whatever, you can always do that. Let's see. I want to make sure I got everything here that I was going to tell you guys. I do remember that when my son used to tell me, you need to get off that medication. I did also think about this at the time. I was like, wow, am I really going to get hooked on this? Should I not be taking it? Is it bad for me? Well, what would happen if I was on some other type of medication? Because at the time I wasn't, So I thought, wow, what if I had to take medication? Is that going to be the same way? And I even was educated now, guys, okay? I took a lot of medical classes. I was educated. It wasn't like I was out there somewhere with a first grade education. But you still think about things like that. And so my suggestion to relatives and friends, don't ever say that to anybody who has diagnosed PTSD, mental illness, because that could be the one sentence that gets them off their medication. That's what happened to me, and it made mine worse. So, yeah, I wouldn't tell anybody that. I would tell them, talk to your doctor and see what he thinks, stuff like that. Let's see. I do wonder why the doctors also, when you need diabetes medication or you need the cholesterol medicine, why ain't they wondering about why you would need that? I mean, yes, the tests come out saying, well, your cholesterol is high or your blood pressure is high, but I often wonder why they're not stigmatized like people who need mental health medicines, And honestly, those medicines are very dangerous if they're not taken right. If somebody was suicidal, you know, so it's a big deal when somebody has to get put on some kind of medication. You can almost not exist if you don't take your medication. And who in the hell would want to if you, I mean, you don't want to feel down in the dumps 365 days a year. You don't want to feel like you're dying every day. So, I don't think doctors should experiment with the medicines, like using, medicines that were made for something else. I forget what they call it now. I think I talked to you guys about it in our first video. I'm not sure. But every time that I have had to change doctors, or they got a new nurse practitioner or something in, I despised going to that doctor because I knew that every time they looked at me, since they were not the old doctor who knew what I went through or whatever and probably didn't read the notes, they just think I want the medicines for frivolous reasons, and it makes you feel down, like, why do I take this crap? Because everybody thinks I'm going to die on it or get high on it, or, and that's the last thing I want to do, trust me. The best way to support somebody who has any kind of mental illness is listen to them. Listen to them without judging them. And don't pressure them to change because they can, because that's not good for them and it's not going to make them feel better. It's not going to help them get well. Support your friends and loved ones with space as they need it, because a lot of people who have these mental illnesses, they don't want people around them sometimes. They don't want to be touched. They don't want to be hugged. Then you have other people that do and that need those hugs and need a person around. So it's really confusing to y'all sometimes. So, you have to kind of feel your way. And if you go visit somebody and they seem kind of distant or cold or something like that, you might cut the visit short, because a lot of people do like meditating. They do like meditating. Some people pray, and which is good, which is very good. I know when I first saw my psychiatrist, he had me doing breathing exercises. And he would tell me to breathe in my nose slowly, breathe out my mouth slowly, and count to 10 each time for the nose and for the mouth. Breathing in, breathing out. And to do that for 3 to 5 minutes. And he also told me when I started having a panic attack, anxiety attack, whatever, to tell the panic and anxiety to go away. Well, at first, I'm going to tell you, I thought he was full of shit. I did. I thought, like, this is going to work, right? And the first couple of times I did it, it didn't. Maybe because I didn't want it to, I don't know. But it didn't work the first time. It didn't work. It started working after a week or so when I started feeling really desperate because the pills hadn't kicked in yet, throughout my body, whatever. I really started doing the meditation to try to, help the pill along, because I'll tell you, it's a miserable feeling. And it does work, though. It does work. Now, I screamed at my anxiety. I said, I ain't doing this no more. I am tired of it. Get away from me. You are not making me feel this way again. And things like that, whatever you want to say. And it does help. It really, really does. And there is something on the market that's new that I seen on Facebook, okay? It's called Camigo. I ordered that because I still get breakthrough panic and anxiety, and like I said, I could be in the car, Bert's driving, and there's a near miss or something. Oh, time to get that thing out. But anyway, this is not a sponsored video for Camigo, but I will put it in the in my description in case you're interested to go, find out what it's about. But it does work. It works really, really good. So that's another pointer for everybody. Let's see here. I'm trying not to extend your video too long. Let's see. Always be an active listener. You know what that means? You hear what they say. Let them stop talking. Give it a few seconds and then answer them. Or start talking about something different. Or try to get them interested in something outside the house, like bingo, or if they're seniors, going to the senior center, things that take your mind off this. Because when you're sitting at home all the time, first of all, never sit in a dark room. And, I'm not saying ever. I'm saying when you have panic and anxiety problems, being in a dark room for no reason, just because you don't want to turn the light on or whatever, is bad for your anxiety. That's my opinion. Everything I tell you guys is my opinion, unless I tell you I researched it or read it somewhere. Because I know a lot of people with depression, and yes, the psychiatrist will most likely tell you that if you are in darkness all the time, like a lot of people like to watch their TV in the dark. I don't know how they do that. I did it as a kid when they had creature features on. Whoever remembers those. Me and my sister-in-law, whatever, we would watch those and eat our popcorn and stuff. But, now that I have anxiety, and honestly, my psychiatrist even told me not to watch scary movies. I'm serious. He said, don't watch scary movies. Don't sit in the dark. Try to picture a pretty place where you would like to be while you're doing your breathing. So hopefully, all these little things that I'm telling you can do, all you can do is try them. And, they may work, they may not, but you never know. Now, Camigo, let me just say one thing about Camigo. After I paid $300 for the Camigo breather, I found out CVS sold them too, cheaper. Just, and that's not a plug for CVS either. Not a sponsored video. But I love all you guys. Get some questions together for me. I am dying to answer life questions, anxiety questions, depression questions, PTSD questions, how did you feel when questions. Anything you feel like asking me, so that we can get it going and we can help other people by both of us answering. Hell, I may have a question for you one day. I love you guys. Stay tuned for our next video. God bless you.